Jenny Horne, host of Next Gen Investing, is with me. And of course, we talk about the very latest when it comes to OpenAI and Microsoft. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Nicole. And the latest string of course, drama regarding the fact that this company still is a non-for-profit. So at least saying that they're closer to converting to becoming this more traditional for-profit company, nearing a resolution of these ongoing and somewhat painful and really negotiations they've seen with their top shareholder, that being Microsoft, and outlining the terms of at least $100 billion in equity for its nonprofit arm. So these plan changes will give the existing OpenAI nonprofit control over a new public benefit corporation. That's per the chairman of OpenAI, which was released on Thursday. But this would also be providing the nonprofit with an equity stake that would make it one of the most well-resourced philanthropic organizations in the world, was his statement. So OpenAI, he said, started as a nonprofit, remains one today, and will continue to be one, with the nonprofit holding the authority that guides our future. So OpenAI plans to give the nonprofit an equity stake of more than $100 billion in the new corporation, which is a floor that could increase, of course, according to those that are more familiar with the matter and according to this Bloomberg report. But that stake would give the company roughly a 20% share of OpenAI if it closes a deal to let its employees sell shares at a valuation of roughly $500 billion. So that transaction alone would make OpenAI the biggest startup in the world. But I think that also the way we think of startup and a non-for-profit company, the lines are a bit blurred here. And OpenAI is not a new company per se. I mean, they were founded back in 2015 as a nonprofit dedicated to advancing digital intelligence in the way that is most likely to benefit humanity as a whole. Both their chief executive, Sam Altman, as well as Elon Musk, who are the co-founders, have spoken about the potential really existential risk to humans that are posed by the advancements in AI, and really have argued for ethical leadership in the industry. But OpenAI's unusual structure became an issue back in 2023 when Altman was suddenly fired, and then after several days of uncertainty was reinstated back to the board and back to his helm of the company. But as OpenAI has grown into this AI behemoth, it has moved to make its board and reshape its governance structures. Becoming a public benefit corporation gives the company and its board more justification to pursue these financial returns for its shareholders. Because again, as it stands, I mean, I've never seen a company this large that is still technically speaking a non-for-profit. But though the public benefit designation does signal the business arm remains committed to having this positive impact on society, it can still be run as a profit-seeking entity. So there's, again, a lot of blurred lines with the way we traditionally think about these terms to characterize the business. All that to be said, though, for Microsoft investors, the announcement does calm fears really about the turmoil in the company's relationship with OpenAI. Microsoft has gained slightly on this news, but Microsoft and OpenAI have been holding these talks for months about reshaping their relationship. So I think this is at least a step in a positive direction. But again, I don't think that being a non-for-profit entity or having a non-for-profit entity arm necessarily guarantees that you're seeking the greater good. I mean, that's just my own take maybe, but also I think there's still a major risk of like broader implications of AI. But Sam Altman does seem at least committed to these changes. And Microsoft also, with their approval here, has also been really, this has been one of the key roadblocks in OpenAI's plans as it grows. So all that to be said, I think this is a step in the right direction. Microsoft not really holding on to this gain, though, so not really hugely influential for Microsoft, but clearing at least maybe a key roadblock in the coming days and months. This could also take a very long time to restructure. As we know, company restructurings don't happen overnight.
And look, I mean, these two are behemoths, and there's no doubt, and Sam Altman has noted the growth, noted the spending, noted the investments. ChatGPT has been the fastest growing app ever, with over 700 million users now on board in just less than 3 years. In the meantime, he did note, with all the AI spending and startups, that some folks, you know, we think about the dot-com boom era, it was somewhat of a boom and bust. I mean, he himself said AI startups and some investors will get burned. He doesn't think OpenAI, of course, is among them, but it does show that while we're in this sort of evolution, revolution, not everything will be a leader like OpenAI, that's for sure, and some won't survive.
That is absolutely true. And I mean, I think that his commentary recently about having to increase the spend was read as a great thing for the broader AI. And also, I think it's been seen as we really take his commentary into full effect as regards to like the entire AI story. And that's definitely a key. I think he's a key leader right now in AI and a key thought leader at that. But it will be interesting to see because he's been also very outspoken about the of course, downside risk. So has Elon Musk, although Elon Musk has been more critical of OpenAI and Sam Altman because I feel like they have gone through like a bad breakup, given that he was at one point one of the co-founders. But this isn't also the only hurdle that OpenAI is really facing. We know that the California Attorney General as well as the Delaware Attorney Generals are currently reviewing the company's proposed financial and governance changes. And last week, both offices did release this joint letter to the board raising concerns about recent reports of how OpenAI's products interact with children, including like mental well-being of children. So that still is also a key hurdle. So while Sam Altman seems committed to the well-being of AI, there are also forces at hand out of his control where how do you control technology that has never existed before? Kind of reminds me of social media, frankly, but there will still, I'm sure, be legal ramifications in the future as this continues to grow.
All right. How about NVIDIA? I mean, yesterday we were talking about price target raise. Now we have the latest on Supermicro and NVIDIA. Let's follow up on that.
I know NVIDIA has been all over the place this week as we do see shares set to open higher this morning, but some latest developments from Supermicro definitely positive. So Supermicro announcing the broad availability of NVIDIA Blackwell Ultra solutions. Supermicro is now delivering these plug-and-play ready NVIDIA HGX B300 systems as well as the GB300 NLV72 racks to customers worldwide. Now, Blackwell's Ultra GB300 and B300s can be converted to use up to 1,400 watts per GPU, while offering roughly 50% greater inferencing performance, while utilizing various compute and also using about 50% more of the high bandwidth memory capacity compared to NVIDIA's Blackwell. So having larger memory sizes and faster inferencing speeds has obviously been a critical hurdle when trying to use more complex and more powerful models efficiently. I think this news, though, comes at a great time when we talked a lot about how some of these Chinese competitors like Alibaba, Baidu are trying to cut out NVIDIA and utilize their own chip making abilities. So that was, I believe, a bit of a headwind yesterday as we got more reports on really Alibaba's foray into the space. But seeing this news from Supermicro, I think reaffirms that, hey, demand is still very strong for NVIDIA's most advanced and most costly chips. I know AMD has been read as maybe like the number two, but I think this news just solidifies, first of all, Supermicro is still making moves in this space, but also there's still an appetite for some of these very costly but very efficient, really Blackwell Ultra solutions, which are going to be hugely important for NVIDIA in the coming year.
Jenny Horne, great to see you. Thank you so much.